Alright guys, welcome to Tiger Schulmann's Kickboxing Corner. UFC on Fuel TV last night. Hard to believe, number 9. I know, right? Feels like they were, the Fox agreement happened yesterday. Actually, it feels like I watched my first ever UFC event yesterday, but UFC on Fuel TV last night. Yesterday morning, actually. It was kind of cool. We're in here in the middle of the day and the Facebook fights are on. Kind of a little bit, people weren't excited about the card. Main event, you know, Gegard Mousasi scheduled to fight Gustafsson and Sweden. Great fight. Gustafsson got hurt, got pulled off the card. Turned out to be a great fight anyway. Alir, don't ask me to pronounce his last name, but really good fights. And through the whole card, great fights. As always on Kickboxing Corner, our goal is not to go down and break down the fights, but to break down some specific kickboxing techniques that happen during the fight and talk about how they translate into a self-defense situation. How might you use those techniques, not just in your everyday training, but God forbid you ever have to face a situation on the street. What should you be looking for, and how can you translate those techniques into your self-defense situation, right? So I want to start off really big newcomer, a lot of hype, named Conor McGregor, Irish guy. Everyone looking forward to him. And cool hypes for the fight because his opponent, Marcus Brimage, is on a 2 or 3 fight winning streak. Came out of the Ultimate Fighter reality show. Big knockout. Hedis was a rising star. So really big deal. For Brimage was upset that they gave him Conor McGregor, thinking that he was set up to lose. And Conor McGregor, with all this hype behind him, came in. And the first thing I noticed in watching the fight, which is one of the most important things you could do when you're fighting, is McGregor, first time in the UFC, fighting a really tough guy, Marcus Brimage. He got knockout power. McGregor looked like he was taking a Sunday drive with his family, man. He was in the fight, and he just relaxed. It looked like he was chilling out with his friends. You know, it looked like we had an Irish pub or something, having a nice, relaxed time. Very, very relaxed. Now, what that allowed him to do was 2 things. Whenever Brimage would throw, he was so relaxed, Brimage would throw a real hard shot, and he'd just go with it. Hands weren't up, chin wasn't down, he was just relaxed. And that shot would come, and he'd just go. It hit him, but like nothing. It wasn't even doing any damage. And that's something for you guys to remember. You know, in the hematologists know this. People that draw blood. Somebody that's nervous about a needle, the needle actually hurts them. Somebody who's not nervous about a needle, they don't even feel the needle. It's the same thing in a fight. It's one of the reasons we want to spar and we want to train so much and so consistently, because you can lower your level of fear. Now, McGregor clearly has been in a lot of fights. He was very relaxed. And the only way you could do that is through practice. Now, the other thing he was able to do, because he was so relaxed, and as those punches were coming, he was getting pop. He would just counter, right? Throw the pop, pop, boom, he would counter. He was throwing shots beautiful off of Brimage's offense because he was so calm and so relaxed. He was able to really pick his spots. Now, he's actually a lefty. I was fighting righty Conor McGregor. Was lefty. Let's switch sides so we can see this. Finish the fight. Very important. If you're in a fight and something works, keep doing it until it stops working. And this is something that Conor McGregor did great. He threw an uppercut, boom, blasted him on the face. Guess what he did? Boom, boom, boom. Missed the second 2 punches. Threw the uppercut, hook, uppercut, missed the second 2, but he came right back to it again, uppercut, and then the next time, hook and uppercut again. Brimage is down, McGregor pounces on him, the ref stops it. Now, what are you looking for to throw an uppercut? In the case of Conor McGregor and Marcus Brimage, a couple things going on. Brimage, way shorter. McGregor 5'10", Brimage 5'3", 5'4". So he's got a 6-inch height advantage. Now, I'm not 6 inches taller than Joshua, but I'm a little taller. Joshua's going to bow over just a little bit to kind of simulate. And then Brimage is so muscle-bound that he can't bring his elbows in front of his body. He can't make a number 11. His arms are open a little bit, right? So that opens up that space to come right through and go to the side of the jaw with that uppercut. So you're sparring somebody or you're fighting somebody and their hands are down, their elbows are open. You could throw that uppercut to the side of the jaw, go right up through the middle of that guard, right? So if you're standing in front of the person, especially lefty, righty, I use my backhand, you could go right up through the middle. Now when you hit that uppercut, what's going to happen to their head? It's going to lift up, go them to the side, back again, he came with another uppercut. He just kept going back to the well, Conor McGregor. Great fight. Really looking forward to seeing that guy fight again. Another fight, same exact thing, so we'll talk about it a little bit. Phil DeFries, Matt Mitrione. DeFries wanted to wrestle and shot. Mitrione stuffed the shot, came back, take a half a step back, giving just a little more distance. Came back up to the feet, went to shoot again, and Mitrione clipped right behind the head. You could barely even see the punch landing, right? But he clipped him with that uppercut right behind the ear as Phil DeFries was going down. Mitrione's also a big, strong dude, so actually the announcers, Florian and Mike Greenberg, actually were talking about how they thought DeFries just ran into him and that knocked him out. But if you watch closely, there was an uppercut there that clipped him right behind the ear. For any of you guys who have ever been hit behind the ear with a power punch, you know that's one of the most disorienting shots you can get hit with. We have a training partner, Sensei Levy, who's famous for caveman punches, and they're hard. They hit you behind the ear, you're like, holy goodness, man, it shakes you a little bit. So, real good win for Matt Mitrione, and another use where you could throw uppercuts. If somebody you know they're trying to take you down, you just literally throw your uppercuts, and a lot of times that person ducks right into it, really successful for you. Next fight I want to talk about, Adlan Amagov, right, was fighting Chris Spank. And this is actually one of Joshu's favorite techniques we're going to talk about. You throw low kicks at somebody. Now, Joshu does it off the front leg, right? So you throw low kicks, actually, let's back up just a little bit. You throw low kicks at somebody, a lot of times what they'll do is back away, right? Back away. So Joshu's going to show you what he likes to do here. Don't come. Yeah, no, I don't even like being the demonstration dummy for this, right? So he's throwing a heel kick. Go ahead, you can explain.
So, again, they're backing away. I don't want to be too close. I want to be able to extend my leg out. So as they back away, it puts me right in range to drive that heel right to the thigh. And he actually, in the fight, Amagov, I didn't say his name, he did it lefty. He switched it. He switched it. He did it lefty. I don't throw a lefty. I like going on my right leg. The same concept. As he was stepping back, he's able to extend that leg and drive that heel right into the thigh. And that little bone that drives right into the leg kills their front leg. Ask anybody in my training partners who I've hit them with that spinning heel kick, they don't like it. And believe me, it puts them down. I was quite surprised that Spang didn't even buckle from that. So, but that's a great weapon you can use to completely destroy someone's base, especially if you're throwing low kicks and killing the front leg. You take out the back leg and they're completely done.
Something I'm still upset about. 4 years ago, you fought Mervin Rodriguez in an amateur fight and landed that kick. And Mervin, who we all know is not necessarily the most sportsman-like competitor, as we know from his glove tap takedown that he did right after that. He claimed that it hit him in the groin. Now, there's no instant replay, there were no video cameras of the fight, but it was pretty clear that you threw that spinning heel kick and hit him in the thigh, and it was debilitating. It hurt real bad. He claimed it was a groin shot. The ref allowed it to stop for a while. You know, stinks because he turned around and he was able to come back and win the fight, but, you know, really kind of would have been nice if the fight had been stopped because he couldn't keep going. So just to give you an idea of how effective it is, Joshu landed it in a real fight. In a street situation, of course, whether it lands on the thigh or the groin, God bless, right? That's okay. There's no problem in a self-defense situation. If you happen to miss his leg and hit him in the groin, which is a much smaller target, harder to hit, God bless. You won your fight and you walk away safe, right? That's what we're looking to do. So real good technique by Adlan Amagov. You know, dominated that fight with Chris Spang. If you've never seen Adlan Amagov, really good suplexes, great kicks. Like, he did a couple of suplexes in that fight. And his previous fight,
did a couple of that step behind old school hook kicks.
And you can show that, Joshu, like the other things that you could throw off of that. Once that person starts looking for that heel kick,
I can step through. I can throw my spinning back kick right here. I can take that heel kick up to the head, Sensei Hall, right there.
Yeah, I don't want to be the Sensei Hall. In fact, we don't want to have that. Again, I don't like being a demonstration dummy for those kicks, right? So that's one of those things that is difficult, because if you do that to your training partners all the time, I remember the first time Joshu did that kick to me in training, I wanted to kill him because it hurts a little bit. So be cool about that when you're doing it in training, but definitely something you can add to your game. Next fight I want to talk about. Another big fight, Akira Corsani, another Ultimate Fighter alum, struggling a little bit. He's won a couple of fights in the UFC, but hasn't really built his name up, and had a big fight, Robbie Peralta, who's been knocking people out.
Yeah.
Very tough fight for Corsani, because Corsani's a stand-up fighter. That's what he likes to do. Another Swedish guy fighting in front of his home crowd. Never, you know, Akira Kurosawa, born in Sweden.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The world is global, right? The world's growing smaller every day. But had to fight stand-up with Peralta. Really cool what he did to avoid the power shots of Peralta. And what he did was he would lead with a jab, right? Then he would lead with a jab to the body. Then he would lead with a low kick. Then he would lead with a cross. Then he'd throw a double jab. What's this causing you to do, Joshua? You have no idea what's coming, right? So Peralta, who is sitting back, counterpuncher, wants to time that big right hand or big left hook, couldn't time Kurosawa. Kurosawa did a fantastic job of switching up his rhythm and his lead techniques, right? To make sure that Peralta could never really get a read on what was going to come next, right? So a really cool thing for you to do in training, and especially in a street situation. You don't want to get in a habit of doing the same thing over and over and over again where somebody can tell what you're going to do and anticipate and maybe time and hit you with a big punch, especially in a street situation because someone's most likely going to be bigger, stronger than you are. You can keep that person off balance. Now, everything Kurosawa threw, his jab, cross, kicks, whatever, he threw it with some bad intentions. He didn't throw it easy, right? He wasn't giving Peralta a chance to gain confidence, but worked really well for him. I give Kurosawa credit too because at one point Peralta did catch him, hit him with a left hook right on the jaw, and you know, Kurosawa staggering, and Peralta ran after him to hit him, and Kurosawa was able to duck and tie him up, and you know, got his balance back. That's a real good thing for you guys to remember. There's nothing wrong with tying somebody up if you have to, and was able to really won, you know, 15 minutes or 14 minutes and 50 seconds out of a 15-minute fight. Great win for him. Last fight we're going to talk about, Gegard Mousasi. Tough fight for him.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, 5 days before your fight, you're preparing for a 6'7" guy. You know, he's probably 6'2", 6'3", and your opponent changes, and your opponent is somebody nobody's ever heard of, but is a really tough dude. The guy was jacked up. He's Albanian, and you know, I actually train a few Albanians and train with a few Albanians, and God bless that culture, man, because for whatever reason in their DNA, fighting is there, right? Tough to a person. And this guy was like built like a, you know, fire hydrant, almost at a brick. Can't say that on television. Built really like strong, and tough fight for Mousasi, but really cool game plan that he had. He was leaning in a little bit because he was taller, right? Sometimes I might want to lean away a little bit when I'm taller, but Mousasi was leaning in a little bit, and what he was doing, he was just throwing his jab. That was it, just jab and jab and jab. Now I'm throwing this little lazy jab out at Joshua. That's not what he was doing. They were sparring, and boom, he was throwing that jab, right? Boom, he wouldn't give the guy a chance to get comfortable and get in any type of a range where he might actually be able to hit Mousasi. And the guy, what ended up happening towards the end of the fight, back up just a little bit, towards the end of the fight, his opponent, Ilir, he's getting frustrated, and he would start throwing big right hands and moving his back leg, right, and there's just nothing there. And it becomes very easy then for Mousasi, like he's throwing that shot just to back up, and he can pot shot a little bit, right? But through the whole fight, he didn't change his lead technique. Not like Kurosawa, where Kurosawa and Peralta a little bit more evenly matched in height. Mousasi had a real good reach advantage, and he used that reach advantage, just peppering that jab, reaching that jab out there. We've talked about that on our kickboxing corner before, especially in a street situation. People don't know how to throw their punches straight. So if you can throw that jab straight, and I'll let Joshua lead again because he's shorter than I am. If he's throwing a straight punch and I'm throwing a haymaker, my haymaker is not going to reach as far as his jab does. But, very important, if you're going to throw that jab, you got to throw it. You got to throw it with some bad intentions. You got to throw that jab to hurt somebody, which is what we work on every round of kickboxing, right? Every other week when we start on the bag, it's always a jab or a double jab. You can't just be hitting the bag like that and think that you're going to build a good jab. You got to go on that bag, hitting that jab in a way. You see what it's forcing Joshua to do. Even when he's catching that jab, he's going to back away. He's going to make sure that he's safe, right? Another great UFC event. As always, we watch them because we're passionate about martial arts. Joshua and I love this. We're in here, you know, today's Sunday morning and doing it again ourselves, but we can learn. Do we love the competition? Absolutely. He's still competing all the time and loves it, and I love competing. But we watch it to learn, so we can teach our students. Great fights last night. If you get a chance, it'll be replayed on Fuel. You can watch it. But those are a few things that happen in the fight that you can put into your training, use it in your training, get good at it, and it'll translate into a real street self-defense situation. I'm Thad Campbell, my assistant Craig Alexander. That's it for Kickboxing Corner for UFC on Fuel TV 9. Next weekend or the weekend after?
Next weekend.
Oh, Ultimate Fighter finale. Our boy Uriah Hall, we'll see on Tuesday night if he's in the finale to win, but he's definitely on the card, so we're looking forward to seeing him fight next weekend live. And then the weekend after that, Joan Sonnet. So we'll be coming to you each of the next couple of weekends with our Kickboxing Corner. Hope you guys are enjoying it. We're keeping track of a lot of you guys watching, which we love. We're seeing every time we do it more and more people going on YouTube and watching it. So keep that up. Feasterville@tsk.com. If you guys are watching an event and something happens and you don't really understand it and you want to figure out why the person did it or how the person did it or what the person was looking for, Feasterville@tsk.com. Shoot us an email. At TSMMA Campbell, you can hit me up on Twitter. And I'll definitely be happy to put that into what's going on in our Kickboxing Corner, and we can help you guys understand and appreciate. And then, of course, the biggest thing is we want you to be able to put it into your own training, those things that you're seeing. All right? That's it for this weekend. We'll see you next weekend.